Hey friends, thanks for watching. If you're watching this video, chances are you want to learn how to look more smooth and be more safe when you're doing any kind of dip on the dance floor. And that's what this video is all about. And in this video, we're going to cover ways to make you feel safe, and look smooth to impress those around you as well as your partner, whatever the case may be. We also want to kind of communicate that if you ever dance with other partners, dancing can be a universal language. It's sort of like understanding English. And if you know how to do it properly, doing the things we're going to discuss in this video will help you to dance with many different partners safely and smoothly.
Yeah, so we'll do a little bit for the follows on tips for dips, a little bit from the leads on tips for dips. And so for the follows, we've got 3 points to share with you. The first point is for safety and smoothness. You are going to want to allow the lead to guide the momentum of the dip. So you don't want to be dipping yourself or throwing yourself into the dip. You want to let him guide the energy of the dip, how fast, how slow. And one of the ways that you'll do that, tip number 2, is by controlling your own weight. In a lot of dips, for a lot of time in the dip, you are in charge of your own body and you're even holding your own weight, even while you're kind of going sideways for quite a while. And then at some point, he often needs to take over control of the weight, control of holding up your body. So you're managing your own weight and you're letting him lead that momentum. And part of that includes having a stable base. So you want to keep your feet on the ground, holding your own weight as long as possible. In most dips, that's going to apply across the board. And you'll know when it's time to relax that, or if he pulls your feet up off the floor, totally great, you'll feel it. And one of the ways that you'll be able to do this in tip number 3 is by maintaining your own body control. So it's important, some basic tips, it's important to engage your abs, engage your core, engage your glutes, squeeze your butt, use your legs, and use proper squatting or bending techniques, anything that's going on. You want to think about if you were to work out, or if you watch somebody do really beautiful dips, you want to pay attention to how she or he is holding their body, that they're engaging those major muscles to put it to work. Make it a little easier on your lead. And in doing so, you're going to be super safe, because you're controlling your own weight, you're not putting it all on him, and you're not adding to the momentum, and you're gonna look really good, smooth, looks really sexy, you're gonna feel strong and powerful. You have a lot to do with these dips, and that's, how do you end things?
How do you end things?
Yeah, you're gonna look super, I ran out of end material. In doing all of these things, you're gonna feel super safe, you're gonna look super smooth, you're gonna feel sexy and strong. You have a lot of input into how good these dips look, because they're really about showing off the follow. You're the star of the show, and you get to control a lot of how amazing it looks.
And as Lauren called out, the whole point in watching this video and practicing these things is you wanna feel sexy, you wanna feel safe, and you wanna be smooth about it, right? So leads, go into leads now. I want to call out a couple tips for you as well. So Lauren mentioned that follows should be holding their own weight for as long as they can in a dip, and this is true. But guys, you are the base, ultimately. She's going to reach a point of no return where she's no longer holding herself, and it's important for you to understand that if you don't have a good base of, the way you're standing, the way you're holding yourself, if you're loose or if you're off balance, it's going to end in both of you tumbling down, which is, it's a good laugh for everyone around you, but it's certainly not the impression that you want to create, and it could lead to injury as well. So keeping all of that in mind, I want to talk to you about how to hold your body. So pretty much any time that you do a dip, you're going to want to get a solid shoulder width or wider base foundation with your feet. You're typically going to want to stand with your feet spread out along where her body's going to go. So if you're going to dip her down to your left, you want that left leg out to be able to counterbalance where she's going, not where she currently is. So that's the first tip. Tip number 2 is how to smoothly enter a dip. So something I see all the time and should recommend that you avoid is people will throw their partners into things. So she mentioned not throwing herself into things as a follow. It's important that you don't throw her into anything as a lead as well. And so when you're about to lead a dip, especially if her feet are gonna come off the ground or she's gonna do something dangerous, really important to sort of broadcast that in advance, to prep or do something to let her know that this move is coming. It could even be verbal. You could say, I'm about to do this dip. If y'all know each other, that's totally fine. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3, and kind of the final tip I want to give you, is the difference between getting from somebody watching you, getting a nice to applause, which has happened, is when you're doing the dip in the song. So a lot of guys are out there they're so preoccupied with what move to do next and what footwork to use that they aren't paying attention to the song at all. But when we think about when we need to dip, it needs to be near the end of a phrase. When the song is dropping, that's when you want to drop her, right? And not all the way to the ground, but it's when you want to do your dip. And it creates this really cool sort of musicality effect that people watching really pay attention to and notice. They don't really necessarily know why it's so impressive, but when they see it, they're very impressed. So that would be my 3rd tip for leads, is when to start your dip and when to finish your dip and when to do the dip. So all of that said, let's do a quick video showing you one of our dips and just how all of these various pieces applies to that. All right, so I'm showing you a dip now with no sound, and you're probably thinking, nice, I'd like to be able to do that dip. And you're not wrong. But here's where my 3rd tip comes in. So take a look at the musicality when I throw the sound on in this video. Watch this. So thanks so much for watching. That concludes this video. If we didn't make anything clear, if you have any follow-on questions, happy to make a follow-up video. Just throw your question in the comments, and I check them every day, and happy to try and clarify anything for you. But hopefully this was helpful, and we hope to see you out dancing one day.
Have fun.